Alright, guys, welcome to the session, and I hope all of you guys are doing good. So let's get started with today's session. So again, we'll continue with the same discussion of solving SQL problem statements, and here is what we will take the first question for today. So Engage Track, a SaaS platform, wants to measure user retention trends across accounts to assess customer stickiness and platform value. The goal here is for each account ID, calculate the monthly retention rate. A user is retained if they are active in a given month and also active in the future month. Compute retention rates for December 2020 and January 2021. Return the ratio, that is January 2021 retention rate divided by December 2020 retention rate. If December retention is equal to 0, set ratio to 0. This analysis will help Engage Track identify accounts with improving or declining user engagement over time. So first of all, let's get the data and then we'll try to understand what to do. So here is the data set which we have, using which we will try to find out the details. Here you can see we have the account ID and user ID. And at the same time, we have the record data as well. So what is the requirement here? We'll again break this particular problem statement into multiple parts, and then we'll try to find out how this can be solved. The first step, again, I'll break this particular problem statement into multiple steps. The first step which we will have for this particular problem statement is to get the activity month, right? So let's break into multiple steps. First is for every account ID and user ID, we will calculate the activity month. The second step would be I want the distinct values here, right? Get the distinct values. Step 3 will be find, I find the retained users. What does that mean? It means that we have the future month activity as well. My step 4, which we will write, is to aggregate retention rate for the month of December 2020. Same way I will do for January 2021 as well. And finally, the last outcome, which is I want to prepare the final outcome, right? So this is like more of a preparation of the final outcome. Right. So these are the 6 steps which we have to perform. And while doing this, we will get the entire information. So let's start with the first step and we'll continue. We'll use the CTE here and we'll continue with the next steps as well. So first step is simple, where we will just apply the account ID, user ID, and fetch out the month. That is the thing which we have to do. So with event months, select account ID, user ID, date format. I have the column name record date and I want it to be year and month as activity month from SF events, right? So this is my first query. If I go and if I say select event months, and when you run this query, you can see that you are getting the event months. So here you can see that you are getting the account ID, user ID, and the activity month. This was my original table where we had the month, year, and date, but we are only fetching the month and year. Now, once this is done, I'll just remove this part because we have to expand this further. Now I'm going to apply the second step, which is basically get the distinct records, because you can see that I have a lot of entries for the same account, right? And you can see there's a combination of account and user as well. So we have to get the distinct values. So here we'll give the values like user months as that is my second CT, where I'll say select distinct account ID, user ID, activity month from event months, right? So if I go and say select star from user months, so that is gonna give me this entire distinct records. So here you can see that A1, U1 is one record, A1, U2 is second record, A1, U3 third record, A1, U2 again for the next month is also there, right? So 2021, 2020 is also there. So that is all. A1 and U1 combination is not there, right? But A1, U2 combination is there. So we are getting the unique records based on the account and based on basically individual, all the 3 columns. Based on that, you are getting the unique records. So till this point of time, we have got individual account, user ID, and month and year. Now we'll get into the third step where we have to find out the retained users. Now here I will join my, what do you say, user months table, which we just created. Or let's write the query and we'll try to understand what we will do here. So here we'll say select, or let me give the alias first, user retention flags. So here I'll say select account ID, user ID, activity month, case when exists. Select one from user months. Let's give this as UM2, where UM1, I'll explain this query, dot account ID is equal to UM2 dot account ID, and UM1 dot user ID is equal to UM2 dot user ID, and UM2 dot activity month is greater than UM1 dot activity month. Then 1, else 0. And as is retained from user months UM1. UM1, UM1, UM1. Right. So this is the query. Let's first check whether it's working or not. A lot of things we have written here. Select star from this whole story. So you can see something is happening here. First, let's see the outcome, what outcome we are getting in. So A1, U1, 2101 is retained 0. Now why is retained 0? Because if you see, this is like, we are looking for what? If you go to the query, right? Let's try to understand the logic here. UM2 dot activity month greater than activity month of UM1, right? That means this activity month, I'm looking for the next month as well, but there is no next month data, right? UM1, UM2 is what? UM2 is nothing but the inner table here. User month UM2, account ID is account ID joined, user ID joined, and UM2 tables activity month should be greater than the UM1, which is the outside table activity month. Basically, this query is checking if 2021 Feb entry is there or not. Because the data is what? The data is up till 2021. If I sort this, you will get the idea. See here. So my maximum data is at 2021 of January. So whenever you have this 2021 of January, the entries are coming what? The entries are coming as 0. Because there is no next month for me, right? There is only January 2021. But if you go to 2020, here you can see that I am getting 1 for these 3 records. Why? Because if you see, A1, U2 entry is present in the future as well. It's a future data. It's a past data. That's why 1 coming in. A1, U3 entry is there also coming in, which is the future is also present. And same way A3, U6 is also coming in because A3, U6 in the future also it is present. If you go back to the presentation, here you can see that a user is retained if they are active in the given month and also active in the future month. Compute retention rate for December 2020. and 2021. That is fine. But basically, we are as of now solving the first part. A user is retained if they are active in a given month and also active in the any future month. For example, if we will go ahead and if I go back to my original data, which we have in this table. Now, if you sort the data here, the data is from 2020. And at the same time, you have these values, right? 2021. In 2020, we have only 4 records. And for that, if you see A3U6, A3U6, and if I sort on A3, 2021 U6, is that record coming in? Let's check. A3U6 is there on 2021, right? But A3U6 is present in 2020 as well, right? So that is why you can see one is coming in. Let me sort again. Here you can see A3U6 is retained as 1 because A3U6 is present in the future also. Let me try to add one entry again in my record. For example, I am looking for those records where I have, let's say I'm putting A1 U10. Now there is no U10 in the future, right? There is no U10 in the future as in 2021. So if I add one more record here in my original data, A1 U10, let's assume. So let's do that. Insert into SF events, record date, account ID, user ID, values. So let's say I'm passing 2021. A1 and I'm taking U10, right? And let me insert this record. Now, when I go to this particular table, the original table, you can see that A1 will have U10 as well. Actually, I wanted it for 2020, not 2021. So let me add one more record for now. 2020, A1 U11, for example, right? 2020, the month is 12. Okay. So now here you can see that in 2020, A1 is there and there is no future record for it, right? There is no January data for this particular guy for U11 combination. So when I run this query, which we have created, for U11, you can see it's coming in 0. Now, why it is coming as 0? Because for this particular record, there is no January data. And that is what our query was, right? That is what the requirement is. A user is retained if they are active in the given month and also in the active future month. Active in the any future month. So this guy is active in this month maybe, but he is not active in the next month. So that is the reason it is coming as 0. Same way these guys. This guy you can see it's inactive. And these guys are active. Because these guys' entries are present in the future month as well. So now let's come to the syntax part as well. So here we are using the exist clause. Exist clause just check whether the record is present or not. Here you can see that I've passed select one. You can pass here anything. You can pass your name as well. That's okay. Still the query will run perfectly fine. Because it is not checking this part. This is something like a placeholder. You can pass any value here. It is just processing this condition, and this condition. So it is checking in the main UM1 table, that is user month table, joining with your UM2 table, that is your user month 2 table. If the conditions are meeting, then I am giving you 1, else I am giving you 0. What are the conditions? Your account ID and account ID should match from the first user month and the second user month table. Your user ID and user ID should match. And your activity month of the second user table should be same more than the first user table. If that is the criteria, then you are 1, else you are 0. And that makes sense, right? Because if you see here, for U11, let's take this record. A1, A1 present, yes. But U11, U11 is present, no. There is no U11 for the past record. It's something like a self-join only, right? It's just something like a self-join. So you are joining on these two columns and checking that any month which is greater than the previous month, then I will make it as 1, else I will make it as 0, right? So that is what this query is doing. Till this point, are you guys getting it, all of you? What's going on? Okay. So now let's proceed further. Now we'll go to the next step where I will be focusing on the user uh, retention rate for the month of December 2020. Right. So here again, we will have to write the query. So let's do that. So December stats. Now, what is my interest? The interest is that I want the account ID and I want the distinct user count, and I will sum up the retain because we gave either 0 or 1. So I'll start summing it up because I want the December retention rate. So how many retention happened? So I will sum up all the ones, right? That is the requirement. Same way for all the January as well. So let's write the query, then we'll understand. Select account ID, count of distinct user ID as total December users. Sum of is retained as retained December users from user retention flags. That is your this table, right? Where activity month is equal to 202012. And as we are doing the count and sum, so obviously we'll have to apply the group by. So group by count ID. Right. So what this will do, it is going to, this was the data which I got from the user retention table, the previous table. Now what you are saying is that I want to select the account ID. Okay. I want the distinct user ID ka count, right? For example, U1. If another U1 is there, it will count it. If not, that's 1, right? For example, if you see here, U2 and U2, right? So distinct user ID count will be 2. For A1, U2 is 2, right? We are counting that. And then we are summing up retained, right? Summing up is basically this plus this. Because we are grouping at this. We'll see that when the outcome will come in. We'll try to understand. And we are looking only for the 2012. That means we are focusing only on the 2012 data for now. Right? So select account ID A1, A1, A3, A1. User ID, distinct user ID ka count. Distinct user ID and the count of it, right? And is retained, it will sum it up for only these 4 records. Let's run this and let's check it out. What will happen? Select DEC stats. Star format, right? So here you can see the output coming in. A1, there are 3 total users, 3 total distinct users, and retained are 2. And A3, there is only one total user and retained is 1. Why it is coming like this? Let's remove this query again, this part, and let's call the above table. Right? And we are focusing on 20 this. So this A1, A1 and A1, right? 3 A1s are there. 3 unique user IDs are there. Out of that, 2 are retained, right? This one is 0. And for A3, there is only one unique user and one is retained. And that is the reason we are getting that number. Right? That is the reason we are getting total 3 users, 2 retained, 1 user, 1 retained. So that is your December statistics, which you got. Now, same thing I will have to do for the January statistics as well. So this query will be exactly the same. And the only difference will be this will become Jan. And this will become Jan as well. That's it. And now when I call for Jan stats, it is gonna give me the Jan statistics. A1 4 users, 0 retained because there is no future month data, right? February data is not there. So that's why all retained will be 0. So A1 4 users are there, all are 0. A2 2 users are there, all are 0. A3 2 users are there, all are 0. And same way A4 2 users are there and all are 0. So I got this particular data also. As of now, both are coming separately. We have to combine that, right? We have to combine the Jan and December stats. So that is the final uh, query which we have to write. Now here I will apply the union, and this query will be a bit of a bigger query which we have to run, so that will prepare the entire data. So what I'll do, I'll first copy this data set and I'll put it in the Excel. So that we'll understand what we will do now. This is account ID, count of user, and retention. That was your January stats. Now, same way we had the Feb stats, December stats as well. where we had the A1 and A2, and this count was 3, and this count was 2, and this count was 1 and 1. Right? This was the outcome we got in the December stats. Now I will join this December stats with the Jan stats, and I will apply the left outer join. Right. Let's try to understand the logic which we are going to build, and then we'll write the query. In the first scenario, I will take my December table as the left table. And my January table will be the right table. I'll apply the left outer join, right? That means all the records coming from the December and matching records coming from the January, I am joining on the account ID. That means A1 will join, A3 will join. Right? So what outcome I will get? Let's put the outcome here. A1, A3. All the records from the left table. Count is 3, 1, 2, 1. And here it is gonna be 4, 2, 0, 0. Right? Left outer join concept. So I am getting this outcome. Now on this particular thing, I will apply some conditions as well, right? So let's write the query directly, but I will do the left outer join is what I'm saying here. So let me write the query. So this is my final data preparation. Select. In between some logic I will write from your December stats. Left outer join Jan stats. There is only one common column, that is d dot account ID is equal to j dot account ID. Right? That is the first part of the query which I am writing. And here in this, I will write certain logic. I will write the logic first, then I will explain this query. So I'm using one function called colis. D dot account ID, comma j dot account ID as account ID, round colis j dot retained Jan user let me do one thing. Here you can select it, December. This I need to change. Total Jan user. And this is also Jan user. Right, so this is my retained December users, retained total December users, and total Jan users, total retained Jan users. So here I am calling this, right? So retained Jan users, comma 0 divided by null if j dot total Jan users, comma 0, comma 2. Comma 2 is for round, as Jan retention rate. I'll copy this query. Same way, D dot retained December users, total December users is my December retention rate. Case when police D dot retained December users, comma 0 equal to 0, then 0, else round J dot retained Jan users, comma 0 divided by null if J dot total Jan users, comma 0 divided by police D dot retained December users, comma 0 divided by null if D dot total December users, comma 0. This bracket will end. A lot of brackets. Give me a second. Let me reduce the size. This bracket is this bracket. This bracket is राउंड का ब्रैकेट ये this this bracket is starting here. Police and then comma 2. Okay, so that is your this thing. And as retention rate or retention ratio from this whole story. Okay, let's run this query, then I'll explain a lot of things we have done here. Total December user field list. Unknown column, total December users in field list. Let me do one thing. Total December users. So here I have defined the total December users. Total December users, retained user. Till this, the query is fine. The problem is in this query only. So select police. This is fine. This is fine. This bracket is opening here, closing here. This bracket is opening here, closing there. This is retained user divided by total Jan users, which is fine. Jan retention rate. This is also okay. Case when police December users होगा. December retained users. 0 then December retained users. Jan users. So this bracket is round का bracket. This police inside this entire is in this bracket. Divided by police inside entire this bracket. This round is fine. Retention. This one now. Total DC users and field list. Where it is missing. It's taking December stats, Jan stats. Right, so we'll just check with ChatGPT. What's the problem? J लगा दिया मैंने यहाँ पे. J, where is the J? December J, this is your B. Jan users. ठीक है. Now it is fine, right? So basically, I was just in place of J, in place of D, I just wrote J. That's fine. So here you can see that the output coming in: Jan retention date, December retention date, and retention ratio. We'll understand this query, but this actually making sense. If you remember A1, in A1, I had in the December, I had two retention. So what is 2 by 3? 2 by 3 is nothing but 67%. And that is what you can see here, 67%. And for A3, it is 1 by 1. That is 100%. So that is also coming in. For gen retention, what it is? 0, 0, which makes sense because here you can see all are zeros. We are focusing on A1 and A3. So you can see that 0 by 4, 0 by 4, that is 0 by 2, that is your 0. And retention ratio, the formula is what? January retention users divided by, sorry, the retention ratio of January by retention ratio of December. Retention ratio of January by December. January by December. So obviously it is going to be 0 as well. So that is the query here we have written. Kohli's account ID, J account ID. What Kohli's does, all of you? What is the use case of Kohli's? Kohli's written the first not null value, right? It's not fill. It's not fill. It's like if I am passing multiple values, for example, select Kohli's null, 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 right? What is the expected outcome? It will be null only. I am passing, let's say here, A. It is going to give me A. So Kohli's what it does, it says that give me the first not null value. So is this not null? No, it is not. Is this not null? No, it is not. Is this not null? No, it is not. Is this not null? Yes. Okay, show me. Show me that. Let me put it here. Let's say C. Now, what is the expectation? What will I get? A or C? What do you think? It is gonna give me C, right? Null. Is it not null? No. C. Is it not null? Yes. So give me C. Give me C. Right. So C is coming in. So same way here we are applying the Kohli's account ID and account ID. Now, as we are doing left outer join, D dot account ID will be there, right? So automatically D dot account ID will be coming in. All the records from the left table matching from right table. So here, as such, we don't need Kohli's, but okay, that's fine. We put that. Here, what is happening? Round Kohli's, if it is null, then it will take it 0. Something like a null if only in this scenario. Because if this guy will become null, then it will take 0. So in place of Kohli's, you can write null if also. That is fine. Sorry, not null if null, right? If null also. Same is here happening. Here it is happening, right? Null if this. So we are dividing this. Now we had the values, we don't have the null. So as such, you don't need that Kohli's as well, but that's fine. For the safety, we are just putting it. So here you are calculating the January retention rate. Here you are calculating the December retention rate. Then what is happening here in the case statement? In the case statement, when Kohli is D dot retained user equal to 0. So basically, if this guy is null, right? D dot retained December user retained is 0, we'll make it 0. Kohli is when here what we are passing. Yeah. So basically here what we are saying is that this is my retention ratio. Kohli is when December user is equal to 0, then keep it 0 only. Right. In December, if there is no records, then keep it 0. And here we are calculating the retention ratio. January by December. So when I am running this query, you are getting this outcome. So case when D retention ratio is equal to 0, then keep it 0. Right. D retention user. Do we have any record like that? Retention December user. Retention December user. December retention. There is nothing like that, right? We had 2 or 1. Now this query is not ended till now. We have to apply one more condition here. Now what I will do, exactly the same thing I will write. But this time I will make my January table as the left table. Right. This time my January table will be the left table. So I'll apply the same concept. Everything will remain the same. This entire query I will copy. Let me remove this. This entire query I will copy. I will apply the union and I will put this guy. And this guy here, what will happen? This December will become Jan. And this Jan will become December. And this join will be left outer join. Rest all will exactly be the same. There is no difference. Right. And when I run this, you can see. Again, that is your J thing we have to take care of. Unknown column retained Jan users. This guy will become J. And this guy will become D. Right. So here you can see the final outcome coming in. Let's try to understand this outcome. Earlier, I was getting A1 and A3 from the above query. From this above query, I was getting A1 and A3. And from the below query, I am getting A2 and A4. And that makes sense because now what is happening? We are making your January table as the left table. So all the records from the left table will be coming in and matching from the right table will be coming in. And we are applying the union, not union all. If I apply the union all, I will get the 2 entries. If I apply the union all here, you will get 2 entries for A1 and A3. Right? We are just making it union just to remove the duplicates. And now when you see A3, A4, what will I get? There is no A3, A4 here. There is no A3, A4 in the December. And if there is no A3, A4 in the December, then what will happen? January user by January total, I can do that. No issues. January user by January total, I can do that. January user, January total, I can do that. For A3, A4. So you can see that here. The 0, 0 coming in, which is fine. For A2 and A4. Right? Same way for A2 and A4. What is the December? There is no December. And because there is no December, you can see their null coming in. Right? December retention ratio. This guy. This part. And then we are calculating the retention ratio. That is also 0 coming in because of this calculation. January values upon the December values. Right? So basically for all the users, you are getting the outcome A1, A3, A2, A4. The January retention ratio, the December retention ratio, and finally the overall retention ratio. So this is my entire query which we have built. Are you guys getting this, all of you? If I go back to the problem statement, let's see this. For each account ID, calculate the monthly retention rate. A user is retained if they are active in a given month and also active in the future month. Compute retention rates for December and January. We did that. Return ratio, January retention by December retention. If December retention is equal to 0, set the ratio to 0. If December retention is 0, set the ratio to 0. That we also did using the case statement. Right? So that is how we calculated this entire problem. Okay. All these problems which you are solving is a high complexity problems, right? In the interview, there are medium, simple, and high, hard. This is the hard problems which you are solving. All right, so let's go to the next one. Engage Trick wants to identify highly engaged users by analyzing their login and activity patterns. Find all user IDs who are active for 3 or more consecutive days based on their activity date records. This will help Engage track target loyal users for reward retention campaigns and upsell opportunities. So let's try to write this query. The data will remain the same. We are using the same SF data, which we used till now, and we'll use this for solving the problem. So again, let's start with multiple steps and let's see what will happen. My first step, which I will write for this query, is I will create a table where I will apply the, what do you say? The activity, right? Dated activity. That is with dated activity. Select user ID, date of record, date as activity date from SF events. Right. So for every user, we are getting this user one, this is the date, user two, this is the date, user one again, the date is there, right? So we are just grouping at the this and this level. We are not doing any aggregation, we are just grouping and we are just grouping based on the user one and the date, right? So here you can see user one came on the 1st of January and he again came on the 2nd of January and so on and so forth. So that is the first part of the query which I have to write. Now I will assign the row number based on every user, right? So let's do that. Assign a row number and or I can say assign a row number based on the date order. Ranked dates. Select user ID, activity date, row number over partition by user ID, order by activity date as rank from dated activity. Select star from ranked dates. Right, so here you can see. User 1, 1, 2. User 10, only one entry, one entry. Here you can see 1, 2, 3 coming in for user number 4. And user number 6 also 1, 2, 3 came in. But the problem here is that it's not, it's consecutive, right? It's consecutive. That's fine. 30, 31, and 1. That's okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. A lot of 1, 2, 3s are there. But yes, we'll see. We'll expand this further. But we gave the rank, we gave the row number for every user per day basis. That the number is applying on the per user basis, right? Per user every day you are getting the rank because we applied the partition by user ID. So for every user, it'll have starting with 1. Every user, the value will start with 1 because it's partitioned by user ID. And order by activity date, right? Order by also we applied. So in the ascending order, you are getting them. So 1, 2. So you're getting 1, 2 like that, right? So that is the second part of the query. Now I will go with the third part where I will say create a difference key that is activity date minus row number to group the streaks. Let's give this query grouped data or group dates. Select user ID, activity day, rank, date, subtract, activity date, comma, interval, RN day as streak group from ranked dates. Select star from group dates. Right. Now what is happening? Let's see this. Date subtract activity date, interval RN day, and then I am getting the streak group. Very interesting query. Let's try to understand this. If I am standing here, let's say I'll give you two examples. Yeah, I'll give you two examples. One for user number 3. And I'll give you one for user number 4. Right? Very interesting. So see this. What I'm saying is I want to subtract the date. What date you want to subtract? Activity date, comma, interval RN. RN is rank or row number which we have given. Okay. So for example, U3, the date is 26/12/2020. 26th of January, sorry, 26th of December 2020 minus the rank. Rank is 1. So what is one day prior of 26th December? That is 25th December. So you can see 25th December coming in. What about the next record for U3? Next record was 6th January 2021. And what is the rank? Rank is 2. So 2 days prior. The 2 days prior is nothing but 4th of Jan. So you can see 4th of Jan coming in. Now let's come to U4. U4 first date is 2nd of January 2021. Rank is 1. So what is the date? 1st January. Then the second record is 3rd January 2021. Rank is 2. What is the 2 days prior? Again, 1st January. And the next record is 4th of January 2021. And rank is 3. 3 days prior is also Jan 1st. So for this particular record, you can see all the three I am getting same date. And here the dates are different. And that is giving me a good idea that user number 4 actually came 3 days consecutively because their starting date was same. Right? It was the first day, second day, third day, and the starting date is exactly the same. So that is helping me understand about what is the streak I have, right? Whether they have come 3 times or not. 3 or more than 3, whatever the requirement is, right? Are you guys getting this query, all of you? What this date sub is doing? Okay, so now what? Now we have to get the count. So let's do the last part. I'll remove this guy, comma. I need to find the streaks first. Streaks as select user ID, comma, streak group, streak underscore group, comma, count star as streak length from grouped data. Sorry, dates. Group by user ID and streak group. Select star from streaks. Right. So here you can see I am getting the streaks. So user ID, comma, streak group. Streak group was what? It was the date which we had, comma, count star group by user ID and streak group, right? Same date. Streak group is the same date. So if you remember U4 has 3 coming in, right? That is making sense. And I got the streak. So 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. There are a lot of users coming in. Now I have the final query from this. Select distinct user ID from streaks where streak length more than equal to 3. So these are the users which are having streak of more than equal to 3, right? And that is what we have to calculate. Find all the users who were active for 3 or more consecutive days on their active date records. Okay. So that is the idea. All right. So let's go to the next one. Ace Stats, a sports analytics platform, wants to identify the most consistent winning performers among tennis players. From match records, find the longest streak of consecutive wins for each player. A streak ends when the player loses a match. Return the player IDs with the longest win streak and the length of that streak. This insight helps Ace Stats showcase top performing athletes and their momentum trends. So first of all, let's get the data and then we'll write the query. So let's get into the data. So this is my data, which we have players results. Okay. So here we have the player ID and the match date and the winning and losing criteria. Now, let's write the query. Now, again, this particular problem statement will break it into multiple steps and we'll try to find out the outcome. I'll break this into 6 steps and try to find out the outcome. This query will be almost on the same lines what we have done in the previous example, because here also we have to find the streaks, but with minor differences coming into picture. So my step one is what? My step one, I will write it as assign the row numbers to matches for each player. Order by date. Right. So with rank matches as select player ID, match date, match result, row number, over partition by order by match date. By default, order happens in ascending order from players results. Select star from ranked matches. Right. So here you can see for every this thing, right? For every user, you can see the numbers are coming in 1, 2, 3, 4 up till 10. Then again for 402, again for 403, and so on and so forth. So we got that. Now, once that is done, I will proceed further and I'll go with the second step. Create a group key by subtracting row number from date index. And this will be okay, that's fine. So here I'll say when groups as select player ID, match date, row number, match result, Rn minus row number over partition by player ID, match result, order by Rn as group from ranked matches. Select star from pin groups. Now what is happening here? See this. For 401, we are partitioning by player ID and the match result. That means player ID and the match result is one group. Player ID and the match result is another group. And we are, you can see here, right? So row number, which is this, minus this row number, which is 1. What is my row number? Row number is nothing but, for this guy it is 2 minus, I am creating another row number function, partition by player ID and match result. So this guy will get row number 1, this guy will get row number 2, this guy will get row number 3, and this guy will get row number 4. Let me make it more clear. I'll write this part of the query here as well. Now you'll understand. Let's give this as R num. See this. Row number 1, 2, only focus on this record. Let me highlight that. Only focus on 401 ka losing streak ka, and also focus on the row number 401 user ka winning streak. Okay. So now first focus on the losing streak. So now it was a first lose, second loss, third loss, fourth loss, fifth loss, sixth loss. So row number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what I'm saying, this minus this, which is this. 2 minus 1 is 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. 5 minus 3 is 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. 9 minus 5 is 4. And 10 minus 4 is 6. Same way here. 1 minus 1 is 0. 4 minus 2 is 2. 7 minus 3 is 4. And 8 minus 4 is 4. Right? So that is what we are doing here. Now, once I did that, this is happening for every every user ID ka loss or every user ID ka win. For that, we are doing this entire calculation. Now, I'll focus only on the win streaks, right? My interest is win streaks. So, win streaks as select player ID, comma group, comma count star as win streak, where match result is equal to win. Group by player ID and group. Select star from win streak. What did I miss here? It's win groups, right? Select star from this. Select this from the from win groups. Right? So here you can see. So what is happening? 401 group 0, win streak 1, 401 group. This group actually does not matter. Win streak 1, 401 2, 405, 4025, 4035, 4032, 403 this and this. So basically what is happening now? We are taking the player ID, group and count. Let's go back to your original query. Remove this part for now. And let's call select star from when groups. Right? And let's see this. Group 1, right? इसका ये दो consecutive wins lose था. हमको तो win पे काम करना है. So we'll focus on win part. So see here, the group is different here. Why the group is different? Because आफ्टर द 4th of April, एक काम करते हैं उसको एक्सेल में ले लेते हैं. There is also very interesting query which we are building here. User ID, date, what was this? Row number, match result. This is also R num, and this is your group. Okay. Now see this. Let's focus on these guys. Okay. Now this guy is winning, belonging to row number 1. After that, row number 2 is coming in. My row number got changed here. This group got changed here. Why the group got changed here? Because there is a higher chances that in between these 2 days, बीच में एक बार उसने loss किया होगा. He must have lost between these 2 days. That is 4th of May, 18th of May. Did he lose between 4th and 18th? The answer is yes. On 16th, he lost. That is the reason the group is different. It's not consecutive, right? After 4th, 18th was not the next win. After 4th, 16th was the loss. And because of that, here the group got changed. But now let's come here. On 16th of June, he won the game. And after that, you can see 4 again coming in on 18th of June. So between 16th of June and 18th of June, there will not be any loss. So you can see that 15 was there, which is below 16, and above 18, there is no win or nothing. Or basically between 16 and 18, 17 is there. There is no loss on 17. There is no entry. Let's go to some bigger number. For example, here win equal to this one. Let's go with this one. 403 का ये 5 एक साथ आ रहा है. All are in same group. 1 1 1 1 1. Now why they are in one group? Because in between he did not had any lose. He did not lose any game. Right? 403 के losses क्या हैं? 3rd May, 6th July and 15th July. 11, 12, 13, 20, 25 all are May. So he lost in the month of July or at the 3rd of May. But between 11th and 25th, there was no loss. All win were there. That's why the groups are same. So when I group on the user ID and this guy, I will get 5 as a count. Right? And that is what we are doing there. So when I'm running this query, here I am getting 5 for 403 for group number 1. That is what we have just seen here. Group number 1, he had 5 wins, 5 consecutive wins. Right? So that is how we are getting the. So whenever there is a loss in between, the group for the win will change, is what this query is doing. Now what next? Now I will find the max streak per player. Right? What is the maximum streak per player? I want to find for every player the maximum win streak. So max streak as select user ID, comma, or I can say player ID, comma, max win streak as max streak from win streaks. Group by player ID. select star from max streak. So for every player, I am getting the maximum streak. That is 4014. For player number 4012, maximum streak. For 4025, for 4035, for 4044, and for 401. 405 is 1. Now, once that is done, I will write the next step here. That is the longest streak player. Select player ID, group, win streak. From win streaks, inner join, max streak on w dot player ID is equal to m dot player ID, and w dot win streak is equal to m dot max streak. Now let's try to understand this query, what we have written. Let me remove this part for now. Select star from max streak. This was my max streak. And this is my win streak. Okay. Now, if I go back to this query which we have created, this is the outcome I'm getting. So I'm joining this table with this table. On what? I am joining on player ID and win streak. W dot win streak equal to max dot max streak, right? So basically I'm joining on this column and this column, this column and this column. Okay. So 401, this record will join with this record. That is your this guy, right? Group number this. 402 and 5, 402 and 5, 403 and 5, 403 and 5, and 404 and 4, 404 and 4, 405 and 1, 405 and 1, right? Now, why are we doing this? Because there can be a chance, as of now in this data, it's not like that, but there can be a chance that I may have one more 403, which is group number, let's say 2, and he had the 5 wins, right? Now, if I join on 403 and 5, if I join on 403 and 5, this guy will coming in, and this guy will also be coming in, right? Because I'm joining on 403 and 5, 403 and 5. So here what will happen? 403, 5, 1, and 403, 2, and 5. That means this guy 403 had a 2 times longest winning streak of 5, right? He won at the group number 1 and at the group number 2 also. That means he had a 2 times longest streak. Although in our data set, it's not like that, but we are trying to cover that condition as well. That if any user is having multiple streak of same length, that is the highest streak. Show me all the multiple entries. Right? That is what this query is actually doing. Right? This longest streak pair. Now, once that is done, my final output will be select player ID, comma win streak, from longest streak player. Right. So this middle part which we have added, you can see that after max streak, whatever outcome I'm getting is almost the same. This middle part we just added just to take care of multiple entries for that user, that he is having the multiple wins, right? Which is obviously in our data set, it is not there as such. But overall, this is how it is gonna work. Okay. Are you guys getting this, all of you? What we did here? All right. So that is your another query which we have written. Okay. I think we'll stop here. I'll share these queries with you. I want you to go through this, what we have written. A lot of complex things we have wrote. Let's kindly go through this. I'm sharing this. We have discussed. Okay. I'll share these files with you, right? With the support team. They will forward it to you. We'll connect again tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll try to solve 3 more questions. Mostly for next 1 more week, I'll talk about SQL, and then after that, we'll jump into Tableau. Tableau or Python, we'll see that. All right. Already we solved, I think, 15 questions. 5, 10 more questions we'll do, and then we'll jump into Python logic building or Tableau. I'll think about it. All right. Have a nice day.